listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana, founders of the Life Coach Method. Each one of our uplifting and deep dive episodes is geared to help you tackle the things that hold you back from having the most magnificent life you deserve. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be coached.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a wonderful, fun episode of Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes. My guest today, as I should say, she sparkles. This is Sparkle Lindsay, and she is a motivational speaker, author, international recovery coach, facilitator, Territory 3 trainer for the Addictions Academy, and CEO of Sparkle LLC, the light at the end of the tunnel. If you were watching me at the Winter Symposium post photos, she's the one who was on the TV as I walked by. I'm like, look, she's on the TV, front and center. So without further ado, welcome Sparkle Lindsay.
Oh, hey, Callie, how's it going?
Good. How are you? How's your weather?
Oh, well, it was -3 this morning, so it's good.
It's 83 degrees here. 83.
I
I'm sweating my ass off already in February.
right. I'm inside with the heat on. You know, it's it's pretty cold.
I had to put pants on to do podcasting, and I'm like, I'm having a heat flash. It's so hot. My God.
I gotta get out there.
You should. I'll come
Uh-huh.
back there. When I came there, I was like, it's nice, it's snowing, it's romantic, it's beautiful, it's freezing.
I know. You said romantic and
You know what?
freezing. Yes.
Yes, it was, and it's, I'm like, it's so pretty. And I'm like, it's so cold, but it's so pretty. Yeah. Well, welcome to the
Yes.
show. We have fun here. Tell the listeners who you are, what you do, and why you're in this space of all spaces. I mean, we could have done anything with our lives, but here we are. So tell me.
Man. Well, you know, I'm a woman in long-term recovery for 5 years, 9 months now. So I'm extremely
Congratulations.
excited. I celebrated 40 years last week. So I'm 40 years old. I've really been excited about my journey of sobriety. And I worked for 3 big box retailers for 15 years before I decided to take my life back. And so for me, Lindsay, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. My father, we're all really, it's so great to have such a great supporting cast as I decided to jump out and start my own business 4 years ago. And then become this motivational keynote speaker, author, and an international recovery coach, professional facilitator, and Territory 3 facilitator out here in Colorado with the Addictions Academy as well. So for me, I found a love. I've been a coach for 5 years, and I just found a love in watching coaches grow. And at this point, being what we call the coach's coach out here, it has been just tremendous having about 675 coaches come through the program and in counting. So that's what I do, you know, and it's been, I add my father in the mix, and we've done a lot of things, healing with energy, helping people understand quantum energy, along with my spiritual journey. And my brothers, they're all a part of it. And they just jumped in and kind of helped me out a little bit as I've been trying to build it brick by brick here.
Yeah, I know. I went to the Winter Symposium and you knew everybody. Everybody knew you. I was
Yeah.
walking down the aisle with you and they're like, Sparkle, Sparkle, Sparkle. And I'm like, what is that, chopped liver? And they're like, oh, who are you? I'm like, I don't know. She's the one on the TV in the front and center. I'm like, I'm just here to hang out and eat food, I guess.
You said I'm just eating food. You know, I will tell you, Dr. Callie, that I do a lot of work virtually, right? Because we're global, all of these different things. And you never realize how many people's hearts you touch till you get into a room full of your own coaches and you're like, whoa, you know, and
Yeah.
it was probably one of the most, I have so much gratitude for the work that's being done, but the fact that a lot of these companies are taking on these coaches and they're just rocking and rolling, you know, so it made my heart smile. And then I seen you and I was like, oh, this is just a treat, you know?
It was cool for me because I went to there was a dinner that was hosted the night before that
Yeah, the
Amy Moore
gala.
invited me to. It was one of
Yeah,
she's now one of my interventionists, but she took my class a
yes.
couple of years ago.
Uh-huh.
So we go in this room and people are coming up. She's like, oh my God, I took your class. I can't remember. I've been doing this for like 12 years. Like I
Yeah.
took your class in 2014 in Dana Point, California, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't remember their name, and I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is awful. And then they you see what they get to do, which is really cool because they're doing some big
Mhm.
things, which is really neat. Which I love to see that.
Absolutely. Just a great treat. I think when I started, I remember looking at your site, 4 years ago, and I was like, I don't really know if I'm ready to be a facilitator, and then I took on a lot of other curriculum, and I really, look at curriculum on a global level, and
Mhm.
just with what's happening and raising my vibration daily. And so it's just been really cool being able to take curriculum and have people really open their hearts and their minds and expanding their stuff to greater lengths, outside of just being recovered. I mean, it's a living thing, right? And I feel like sometimes, even with me being close to 6 years, um, it's been beautiful, but this like I feel like I'm just getting started, and I hope the rest of them are feeling that way too as we continue our journey to stay sober and go out there and empower people.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch the landscape change because when I entered the
Mhm.
space in 2012, there was only 4 teachers teaching
Yeah.
intervention. And there
Hmm.
was no recovery coach training yet. And then boom, here we are. We're doing this recovery coaching. We have the offshoots. We're offering sex addiction. We've got food addiction, mental
Yes.
health coaching, trauma, and people outside of the space now, which is what I love, that are coming in. They're hairdressers and their personal
Yes.
trainers and yoga teachers going, I want to learn that because
Exactly.
they're doing the work. They're doing someone's hair and they're talking about their alcohol problem, but they don't know what they're
Mhm.
doing. So to watch that spread is pretty neat.
Well, and we're evolving, right? The revamping of systems is a real thing right now, everywhere. And people need somebody to walk with them. Doesn't matter what it is. So the power of the peer coach has came right at the right time, and it is the future. And a lot of it is because we are able to share the lived experiences we have, and then take a little bit of education and add our swag to it, and got yourself a party, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's fun, but there's also a lot that comes to it. And you and I both know, we're talking about overdoses, and we're up against fentanyl, and we got boots out there on the ground that are walking with people to take their life back. It's not always easy to have people in that space and in that energy every day. So as a facilitator and someone who's able to kind of guide people to understand, hey, you come first, right? And we can't give away something we don't have, has been very valuable in this era because there's so many people who are asking for help. And it's beautiful because we're in the era of it's okay not to be okay, and the sober movement and all of that. But while we're all staying sober as well, we have to remember to have that balance and become that well-oiled machine we deserve to be, you know?
Yeah. Now let me ask you, so you were in corporate environment, you were in the corporate culture.
Yeah. Hmm.
What was that like, first of all? And then what made you want to get out of it and get sober? What made you say, no more, this is insanity?
Well, I was in the corporate structure for 15 years, and I really enjoyed it. I was a pretty big powerhouse in the corporate community, and I started at age 24. So when I started learning how to do that, and I started running remodels and building teams of 3,000 and stuff like that at a young age, I thought I was on top of the world. I was came out making 75, 80,000 a year, and just took off. I had a great mentors and stuff that helped me in the leadership role. But as much as we talked about self-care or work-life balance, it's not as initiated as it should be. And in that time, I worked around the clock like crazy, and so as I got going and things were good, I could do things with my eyes closed. That's how well I knew the profession as an executive, as an HR executive, right? So valuing people, growing with people was wonderful, but there were a few things that happened to me, right around the way at the end there. For one, I had an employee kill himself in front of me, and that one right there, it hit me because where we come from, especially being African American, therapy really wasn't big. It wasn't as big. You put the H on your chest and you handle it. And I started having those nightmares, and I was trying to stay up with cocaine and alcohol so I could produce, okay? And I could
Right.
produce on this stuff now. We're not, but I didn't want to sleep because I was having nightmares, you know? And so I remember the day I got called into the office and I was like, they're going to fire me. I know they're going to fire me. I remember it. And they said, we want to promote you. And want to promote me 125K. And I looked at that piece of paper they had, and I looked up at my boss, and I looked at the paper, and put my head down, and I said, I'm gonna have to turn this down. And I told him I'm not well. He said, well, we'll hold your spot. I said, absolutely not. I said, I gotta go take my life. I gotta go take care of myself. And so I left. Ended up in jail because I went up to Blackhawk and started gambling and ended up in jail for a few days. Um,
Oh, you went on a tear. You're like, you
oh,
know what? Let me turn down
I
the
went all out.
promotion. Let
Yeah,
me
I
just
went
go
all out.
in.
I went all out. And then I said, "Oh Lord, I'm sitting in the jail cell." And I went a few times, Dr. Callie, and I said, "No one's coming." I knew it. I heard that voice. No one's coming. What you gonna do, boo? What you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. I need to call my dad. You know, couldn't remember a dang number. Couldn't remember a number, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Sparks, you got to get out of this. I got on out and I went on ahead. I called my aunt and I said, I'm ready to get some help. And I 3 o'clock in the morning, I threw everything out the car, took off, went to my grandparents' house, knocked on the door and said, I'm ready. And I haven't looked back since. Promised myself if I went back to corporate America, it would be to help those that are still looking for their work-life balance and give them good programs to be successful in the industry, but still have their sanity, you know. And then I got compelled to build my business, and I said, okay, well, I have everything I need. I know how to hire. I know how to do all of these things. So what I want to do is I know for years I've helped people own their own development, but how about I help people own their own recovery? And all this came up, and now here I am, almost 6 years later, and it's just been a joy, you know.
That's awesome. And I find a lot of people who do drugs and alcohol well do
Hmm.
companies well because it's like, here you are, the first person I met who's like, hey, we want to promote you, 125K. And you're like, screw that. I'm going to get high and gamble, turn down this promotion and end up in jail. Who does that?
That's what my mom said, and she said she would watch me do 15 different things while I was working. And it was just like second nature for me. And so now running my own business, I have to be very mindful of that. And I've really had to work on not the real root addiction. You know what we talk about, Dr. Callie, the workaholic piece.
Mhm.
And it's starting to slap me in the forehead just a little bit because I'm excited. But, now we're in the world of entrepreneurship. And it is so exciting, but it's pretty fearful too at times, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's exciting. It's fearful. Sometimes we overdo it because we're like, there's so
Yes.
many things on the docket. It's like, boom, boom, boom. We were talking today. It's like backed up all day. And then you take a deep breath and you're like, did I eat? Did I go to the
I,
gym? Did I shower today? Have I bathed? It's like, it's crazy because entrepreneurship is no joke. I
no.
mean, we work 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week and we're like, I'm going to be my own boss so I can work less. And we work more.
Right. And the big piece is I've been learning the gift of, being not being in your business, but running your business.
Hmm.
And I had a good conversation with the person there I'm talking to right now, that said, overcome those fears and start doing what you need to do and not really hold yourself back. So I took just a little time off here last week and just really grounded myself. I, made sure I keep my quantum energy going in my process during out the week, and I just feel a lot more rejuvenated because I think sometimes we can get in our heads just because we are doing so much, and being able to reach out to those mentors like yourself and a lot of these other people who are like, Sparks, you're right on track, but just trust the process. That faith over fear is real, and not only that, but like going through your recovery journey and going through like, the other different addictions you may have already had that you didn't know, and just working with yourself. It's all a process, but it's a beautiful one. But being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that much.
It's not. No. I've had 6 companies. 2 I've started with $300 in rent due. It's like,
Yeah.
how am I going to do this? And it's like, yeah, I work well when there's no other option, you know? It's like, okay, we're going to do this or we're going to be homeless. We got 2 choices.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
Yep.
It is. And with my father, there's a lot of the stuff that, bringing spirituality into the mix about 4 years ago for me has just been wonderful. My brother, Philip Lindsay, Zachary Lindsay, Marcus Lindsay, Cherie Lindsay, we're all been playing sports. We've all been doing this. And when my dad brought quantum energy into the mix, it really helped me to slow things down, trust the energy, trust my higher power, all of these different things, and allow the energy to guide me, knowing that it's alive, right? And so for me, it's very important to stay grounded and be where my feet are. And then also be honest and open when, like I said, workaholic stuff comes up or OCD comes up, and then talk about it, walk through it, and then continue moving. So it's always good to feel that rejuvenation and know, like, when you're out of transition and into transformation, and I feel the transformation coming. And so I'm just trying to really learn these ebbs and flows to trusting, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So tell our listener base where they can find you if they want to take one of
Yes.
your classes or hire you to coach them through some area of their life. Where can they find you?
All right. So you guys can find me at sparklelindsay.com. I'm also on the Addictions Academy website as well. All of my handles: Instagram, Sparkle Lindsay; LinkedIn, Sparkle Lindsay; Facebook, Sparkle Lindsay; Twitter, Sparkle Lindsay X, all of the above. If you look up, you'll see some of my real good stuff, all my speaking engagements, everything else. But I have a lot of my classes that are up there where you can call and just say, hey, Sparks, I want to jump into one. Other than that, I mean, you can reach me any way you want, it looks like. Probably why we're so busy, Dr.
You know, you're right. And we're going to put all that up in the show notes so that they can
Yes.
click it and just go right to you and be like, here I am. I saw the
Yes.
episode with you and Dr. Cali.
And just to let y'all know, this is really like, so I've always done CCAR, of course, since I started, but this is my first time rolling out the Academy, the Addictions Academy program. So I'm extremely excited. I have trauma informed, peer support specialist, recovery coach, level 1 there, and then also the intervention classes. So I'm excited to really jump into these courses and start rocking and rolling.
And we are excited to have you and your enthusiasm and your energy, which is awesome.
It's going down, Callie.
Well, thank you for joining us today. If you had to give our listeners one piece of advice on how to unpause their life, what would you say?
Be careful what you say to yourself now. You're listening.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And everybody who's listening, you have been listening to Unpause Your Life, and we will join you next week for another episode.
Thank you for listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana. Head over to www.thelifecoachmethod.com to learn more about coaching yourself and how to become a master coach.